Okay, hi, I'm Gary. We're talking about everybody's favorite today, pizza. Our goal was to make a pizza in our home oven that rivals pizzeria pizza, and to find a recipe that was quick and easy to do. They're experimenting and doing various work on that, making various doughs, doing trial and error for quite a while. It became clear to me that the biggest challenge in homemade pizza is getting a crust that rivals pizzeria quality. Pizza is very creative. We can use different kinds of cheeses. You can make your sauce how you like, and I'm sure many of you are very good at making sauce and understand what cheeses you like and what combinations. But the crust is, without a good crust, it doesn't taste good. I find that with a good crust, if the crust is good, you can use a store brand pizza sauce and some store brand cheese, and it'll still taste great. So that will be the main thrust of our video will be how to make a quick and easy professional level pizza crust in your own oven. Okay, let's review the ingredients we'll be using and the tools that we need to make our pizzeria quality crust. This perforated pan, 16 inches from Walmart, $7.99. You may say, what about a pizza stone? I threw mine out last week. I get the best, crispest, most effective cooking on this perforated pizza pan. You can also use a similar pan without perforations, but again, I find the perforations a lot of heat through and give it even browning to the crust on the bottom. Perforated pizza pan. You'll need a spoon, a metal spatula when the pizza's done. We're using Fleischmann's instant dry yeast. This is important. I've used other types of Fleischmann's yeast with no good results. This one works for this particular recipe. It's available at Sam's Club, and I'm sure many other types of stores will carry it. It's Fleischmann's instant dry yeast. You'll need a few tablespoons of sugar, or teaspoons. You'll probably need a teaspoon of salt. Pizza sauce, you can buy some, make your own, whatever. This is what the yeast looks like once it's out of the package. You will need a glass measuring cup. You can put hot water in there. The glass cools the hot water so it won't kill the yeast. Glass, not plastic, not metal. Oil is important. I use a combination of oils. I use canola. Wesson's canola oil is one of my favorites. I have Wesson's pure 100% vegetable oil, and I also have olive oil. You may want to, I've got Pompeian classic olive oil here. I like the flavor. From my point of view, the flavors do vary from types of olive oil, virgin, extra virgin, just plain olive oil, and from brand to brand. I find that the flavors taste, and you want to maybe experiment which one tastes the best to you, but I do believe that some olive oil with the regular oil does enhance the flavor of the pizza. The flour is also somewhat critical. For this recipe, you need to use that yeast and this flour. This is gold medal, unbleached, all-purpose flour, which I believe is available universally across the country. I'm using today for this demonstration Walmart's shredded mozzarella. You can get fresh mozzarella, whole milk mozzarella, different brands, different qualities. You can get it from the deli. This is what I'm using today. Currently, I like to add a little feta cheese, not too much, it's just a personal taste. I'm using feta in with my mozzarella today. And I will be topping with pepperoni when I'm done. That's one of my favorites. Okay, I have a 2/3 cup of hot tap water. I let the water get as hot as it could in the tap, and as I mentioned, what's nice about using a glass cup is the glass will pull the water down to a perfect temperature. It will cool it off somewhat so it doesn't kill the yeast. If the water's too hot, the yeast will die. Now that we have 2/3 of hot tap water in the cup, I'm going to put 3 teaspoons, heaping teaspoons of yeast into the water. 1, 2, 3. Making a mess is optional, that's up to you. 2 of the yeast, we're adding 2 teaspoons of normal sugar. 1 and 2. And you want to mix it thoroughly. It's not a long process. It's a little grainy in there at first. You want to get it dissolved a little bit. Okay, this yeast will proof, what they call proof, or foam up. It should foam up to about the top within about 5 minutes. We'll be back when that's done proofing. Okay, as you can see, our yeast is foamed up nicely. It's been about 5 minutes since we mixed it up. It's time to put some flour in here and make the dough. This is a 1/2 cup size measuring cup. You want 2 very heaping 1/2 measuring cups full of flour in there. 1 and a 2. To the flour you want to add approximately 1 teaspoon of salt, and in goes the yeast right into the flour and the water. Okay, so what we have here is a beginning of a dough that's a little bit too dry to form into a nice dough ball, which is exactly what we want. At this point, what we do, you want to add just a little bit of canola oil, perhaps a tablespoon, and about the equal amount of olive oil. Just roughly a tablespoon. Now we'll mix it again. Okay, now it's moist enough with the addition of the oil to form it into a ball. Now what I like about this recipe that I've developed is that you do have to knead it a little while, but not too long at all. Some recipes call for as much as 14 minutes of kneading. Is nowhere close necessary on this. So we are going to knead it now for about a minute. It just allows some of the oil to be more evenly distributed throughout the dough. It had kind of a dark tan appearance, and as you knead it a little bit, it goes back more towards the white of the yeast, which is what we want. So basically all we're doing at this point is distributing the yeast and oil a little bit more evenly through the dough. And that's it. It's pretty uniform looking. You want to shape it into a little ball. You want to go like that. You want to drizzle a little olive oil on it so when it rises it doesn't dry out on the exterior of the dough. Just slop it around and make sure it's coated thoroughly with the olive oil. Reshape it back into a ball. And that's it. Our next step will be putting it in the oven to rise.